Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Shivani Singh. In a major breakthrough in the ongoing hostage crisis, Naga groups have released the 14 Kuki individuals they had continued to hold hostage in Manipur for close to a month amid simmering ethnic tensions. Now, while the fate of 6 Nagas, whom members of that community say remain under their Kuki captors, is unclear. Manipur's police have revealed that the 14 Kuki individuals were released from the predominantly Naga Senapati district, and following a medical examination, they were returned to their Taphoi Kuki village in Kangpokpi district. The United Naga Council President N. Lorho has said that 14 Kukis were released in view of Union Home Minister Amit Shah's assurance via the Nagaland Chief Minister that the government would work to find the 6 missing Nagas. Now, Kuki and Naga groups took people from each other's community hostage on May 13th in a tit-for-tat move amid ethnic strife between the two sides, which became inflamed when 3 Thadao church leaders were ambushed and shot dead in Kangpokpi earlier that day. On the other hand, as the days turned into weeks, the silence over the fate of the 6 abducted men has deepened public concern and raised serious questions. Beyond the tragedy of these 6 abducted villagers lies a broader concern. The month of May witnessed multiple incidents of violence, deaths, abductions and hostage situations across Manipur. Manipur cannot afford yet another cycle of violence. Peace without justice remains fragile and incomplete. Unless credible efforts are in fact made to uncover the fate of these 6 Naga men and ensure accountability, the trauma, pain and unanswered questions surrounding their absence will continue to weigh heavily. Joining us on this broadcast are our panelists, Major General Sudhakarji, who is a senior geopolitical and defense expert, Major Muhammad Ali Shah, defense expert, RVS Mani, former internal security officer, and Shanti Kumar Sapam, who is a retired colonel and who is also joining us on this broadcast. I welcome you all and I thank you for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. Let me start off this discussion with General Sudhakarji's observations regarding this situation. Sir, obviously this is a major relief. We are seeing the release of these 14 Kuki individuals, but the fate of the 6 Naga individuals remains uncertain. I want to understand from your perspective, this seems like an olive branch, even though they have said that, it came under the assurance of Home Minister, assurance that they will in fact get these Naga men released and their whereabouts will be found. But how are you looking at this overall situation in Manipur, sir?
Yeah, Shivani, good evening. I hope my audio is
absolutely crystal clear, sir. Please
because,
go ahead.
this is going flip-flop on and off. I don't know. There is some technical
So we can hear you.
So yes, I'm audible. Then
Yes.
I have gone through the text that was shared by the guest coordinator. At the moment, the thought that comes to my mind is it is enigmatic. When I say enigmatic, what I mean is that on one hand, they have been saying all the 14, they started with 44, all of them were released except for 14. And also there was a declaration to the effect that 14 have been released. And now also that text is followed by another paragraph saying that 6 are yet to be revealed. So this is definitely a contradictory kind of an input which is coming. And let's take it on the face value. Let's say that all the 6 are yet to come out in the open and yet to go back to their homes. Then there is definitely an issue of, I would say, leverage. Leverage, here is something very interesting which is happening to the best of my understanding. And that interesting is that within the Naga faction, between the Kukis and the Naga groups, there seems to be a very prominent fault line and there is a division. And that division is being taken advantage of by the Nagas. Why are the Nagas doing what they are doing? They have been aggrieved, and they were aggrieved. Perhaps, going by the text, it is by the assassination or the killing of the church leaders. But I think the storyline is far beyond than what is being depicted. It is not merely the church leaders. There is much more because we are alive to the latest spree of violent activities, and the cookies actually having come into the fray and the limelight in the recent past after a hiatus of almost about a year, ever since the semblance of governance came into being, and maybe because of their activities which caught the attention of the security apparatus, and also it started flaring up to the north, because if you see Manipur, to the south there is a particular group, and to the north, and for the after a long gap, the northern portion of the Manipur, that enclave, has actually become disturbed. And when you talk about the northern portion, I personally feel, this is my assessment, I may be wrong, the Naga group and the Kukis, they are at dagger's drawn, and we need to identify what are the differences, points of view that is actually driving the Naga group to go against the Kukis. It may be some traditional historic animosity which is actually playing up, and there are some external agency. I still maintain everything happening in Manipur is driven by external agency, and that external agency, by now the government of India would have actually tapped on. They have put their eyes or their attention on, and they are the players who are playing the game, maybe staying inside Manipur or outside. There are some handlers who are operating and conducting such kind of operations, so that the government attention remains divided. The economic growth that we are planning for, India is planning for in the state of Manipur, to address multiple challenges, whether it is infrastructure or the tribal groupings and the entitlements, like Maitai have been demanding something, they have not been giving, the court order has been dismissed, or rather it has been revoked. So, and also the land problem, if Cookies can come and buy land in the Maitai area, Maitai cannot go and buy land towards the Cookies area. There are a host of issues. So therefore, I would say in my opening remarks that it's a very complex problem which is being taken advantage of and being exploited by some external agency.
Okay.
And don't be surprised if it is connected to one of those
Okay. Okay.
the small enclave being established by the Western powers, be it the CIA or some other agency. Also, it is connected to a kind of a spectrum we need to look at: short term, medium term, long term, and identify the teething issues, try and contain it initially, and thereafter counter, and then go in for the contestation or resolution permanently.
Okay, so point
At
taken,
a
General.
long-term perspective.
Point taken. You have to look at the spectrum, and you have to also look at the role of external factors over here in Manipur. Let me also, in fact, get in a word from RVS Mani. Sir, I want to understand from your perspective, do you believe there has been a failure of maybe intelligence, maybe law and order that is prevailing right now, because the government is doing a lot to make sure that there is peace in the region, but there are 50 people from both the communities being abducted on the same day together. How is that possible when there is so much of security in place?
Thank you, Shivani. Thanks to my good friend Sudhakar, General Sudhakar. He has made a comprehensive canvas of the entire issue, including the external forces angle. So that answers your basic question about 50 from both groups getting kidnapped on the same day. But indeed, let us give it to that the government is now having a better control of the situation, in as much as that they are able to prevail upon the Naga, United Naga groups, to release the United Naga group and then take it forward. But what about the 6 who have been held? See, the killing of the 3 church leaders was unfortunate. My take on this is the government should slightly recalibrate their strategies to the extent that, see, don't bring in a united command group or other, but some sort of a special dialogue or a special counseling communication group of middle level people who can gain the trust of the communities, ethnic groups out there. talk to them before they resort to violence. Just talk to them, counsel them, hold them back, take it to the government that this is their grievance, and that is the view. That this absolutely innovative new methodology. I do not think it has never been tried, because what happens is when it becomes top heavy, they become hostile. So try to broker a dispute resolution process. See, now the government has done it through Nagaland CM. But CM is also again a very high level, and the consequence of that, now there will be a war of attrition between the Nagaland CM and Manipur CM, and or something like that, some Kuki leader or a deputy CM representing the Kuki leader. So that type of a thing, it is an excellent move by the Honorable Home Minister to have made this positive assessment. But again, the things are not as easy as it seems, as Mr. General Sudhakar pointed out. So we need to keep on few strategies. How is it that the radicalization or the disaffection from the government and the disaffection from the state of India or state of Manipur is happening? Number two is how the ethnic fault lines are being exploited. Left to themselves in 1990s and all, Naga Mothers, a Christian organization, did a wonderful job to broker peace. They played a more valiant role than any of the ICS, NSCN-K or NSCN-IM. They were more instrumental in that. So like that, we pick out this type of organization in this to talk to the Naga. See, basically it is a Naga or a Kuki life which is lost. It is not that somebody's son is getting lost. So they have done it, they have a record. Similarly, some sort of organization, bring them together, let them counsel the children as a few officers, some few people who have some communication validity with them. So take an absolutely new approach, so that before the violence is resorted to, we are able to put an end to it, counsel them, stop them from violence, take out their grievance and put it above at the governor level or at the chief minister's level or at the home minister's level. So then they will come out with a, whether it is a plausible solution, a compromise solution, a give and take policy and all.
Okay.
By virtue of this, these people can also find out who is influencing, what is the external agency which is working on that. So that communication at that level is the most important. The grievance is not more than a grievance, it is the communication. Talk to people. What happened is the high-end people going there and then seeking petitions and all is not there. Continuous engagement has to be there. So these are all some recalibrated strategies have to be made.
Right.
Ahmed Ali Shah would be one of the best candidates for this type of assignment.
Right.
I would
Right.
put it. Major Ahmed Ali Shah could be a possible candidate.
In fact,
Like that,
let me go across to Major Shah on this. Major Shah, obviously, we are seeing really good action by the security forces on the ground. On 13th May, when 50 people were abducted, on 15th, we get the result that the Indian Army has managed to get, 28, I believe, hostages rescued. They were remaining, obviously, like these 14 people and the 6 Naga people, they are still in a hostage-like situation right now. But I want to understand from your perspective, where are we lacking? We are doing so much. We are working on buffer zones. We are working on peaceful negotiations. We are working with communities for local peace committees that are being established over there. Where is the government going wrong?
Right, Shivani. The government is doing their best. Every parent would be concerned when their child gets hurt. It's not that the parents are going to look away. So government is doing the best. Yes, I mean, it may not be very effective at the moment. Why? Because maybe the methodology isn't enough at the moment right now. So where are we doing wrong? Well, we are doing the best. We want things to improve. Also, the release of these 14 Kukizo people, whereas, as you rightly said, the fate of the 6 Naga people remains uncertain at the moment. So this has been actually, I ask our viewers one question. Even after the release of these 14 people, where is the guarantee that such an incident in Manipur will not occur again? I'm afraid, my heart bleeds, and I say it with great difficulty, that it would be, again, such a thing could happen in Manipur. We have 2 Cobra battalions. They were inducted just 2 days back in Manipur of CRPF. But is that enough? we Assam Rifles were doing a brilliant job. The army was doing a brilliant job. But does anybody doubt their competency? No. The armed forces they have their hands tied behind their backs, and now they are made to operate. So a political problem does not have a military solution. It is definitely a political problem in Manipur. Now there are two kinds of violence in Manipur. One is the insurgency, that's the underground problem, and other is the ethnic problem. Earlier it was Maite Kuki, right? It hasn't cooled down as yet, but there is Kuki and Naga. That's the Tankuls. So in fact, just today at about 11:30 a.m., one farmer was working in the paddy field with others. He was killed, and it's suspected, though it's not confirmed as yet. It's by NSC and IM, apparently. So this thing in Manipur is quite troublesome. What firstly, I thank Mr. Mani. Sir, thank you very much for considering me worthy of, I want to, and I volunteer for it, in fact, of where I love this state, I love the people. And in fact, Colonel Sapam, he's here, he knows me very well. He's from the Assam Regiment, and they all live together in Assam Regiment. We have Kukis, we have Maites, we have Tankuls, we have Nagas, we have everyone. They live together, they fight shoulder to shoulder, they train shoulder to shoulder. So when that can happen in the armed forces, Colonel Sapam here is a perfect example. He has worked tirelessly and effortlessly for peace in Manipur, be it negotiating with the Kukis, be it with the ex-servicemen, be it with anyone. I mean, it is about time, in fact, now, because now, as General Sudhakarji said, that external factors, yes, see, external factors will take advantage when they see the wounds are not healing. Now the time, let us get involved. So external factors, whether I feel it could not have been with the start, the external factors may not have been the reason to start it, but yes, I do see involvement of external factors now who want to take advantage of our weakness, of our situation.
And maybe flare up the situation. All right, Major Shah, I get your point. Let me also rope in Colonel Sapam into this discussion. Colonel, I want to understand from your perspective, because we need to know that on the ground there is this fracture that has occurred. Again, this was very fragile, this was very delicate, this is a relationship historically between the Nagas and the Kukis, and through this incident of this hostage taking that has taken place, do you believe that the local peace communities can maybe recover from such an incident that has taken place? Because remember, sir, we still have 6 Nagas who are still being held hostage.
Shivani, good evening. Thank you so much for having me on your show, and good evening to all the panelists here. And well, coming to your question, right from the beginning, in other channels, I have not come to your channel much, but other channels have been maintaining that I have been telling right from the beginning that there is a external forces involved in this, right from the beginning, and it is there. I have never said that there's a trust deficit, or let's say there is ethnic clash between the Meiteis or Kuki, especially these two community as such, because Nagas and Kukis, they had during 1993 time, they had that ethnic problem was there, but this time it is not ethnic. Now, we have to understand one thing, which is called Burma Act, which was passed by the United States in the Assembly, in the Parliament, House of the Representatives, which were very popularly passed in 2022 on 23rd December. And that we cannot neglect it. And the role of the Chinese and the Americans in Myanmar, that we cannot neglect it. And the arrest of Mr. Michael, American citizen mercenaries, and for 6 Ukrainian, that these are all there. And a Kuki person from the side, Lamzakam Hakim, he roams around in Imphal with me, he sits with me, he talks with me, and he's a Kuki chap. So he sits with me. So there's a lot of understanding between him and this thing, me. So is there any problem? No, there's no problem. But I'll tell you one thing. There was one Manipuri guy, Meitei guy. We are all Manipuris, but Meitei guy. His name was Rishi Kanta. Sometimes in the month of January this year, he went to the Kuki area, Churchanpur. His wife is from Churchanpur. He took permission from the concerned people, but some group said no, you cannot come. So the video was shot and the gun was put in his forehead and he was shot in front of the video and circulated. And you know, in last year, 2025 August, we had a peace talk. Our one group, we had requested that, you know, Mr. Lamzathang Haukib and his party. And there was one gentleman called Nikham Jamhao. So we talk about peace, maintaining peace and work for peace in Imphal. But then this Jamkhao, he is from Karbi Anglong, Assam. He went back after around 1 month. He was shot at. You know, he was killed. So, and even these three, you know, religious, Thados, pastors, they were ambushed on 13th of May. They talked about peace 5 days before, and they were ambushed. You know, so see, when there is any effort by the chief minister went to Jiribam to, you know, spread peace and all those things. And the next day, 3 children were killed at Tronglaubi. And these things are happening. My Kuki friends, they keep bringing them to me. I had their ideas. I know their ideas. Nobody wants, you know, any turmoil here. But then, you know, some power is there. Some power is there which is not let it happening. This is not allowing. The 6 Nagas, the faith of the 6 Naga hostesses, I'm not very sure what has happened to them.
Right.
Please see the magnanimity of the you know, Nagas. They released the 14 hostesses without any precondition.
Right.
So how should I say? And the General Sudhakar had rightly said. He also mentioned about the. So I will not say that there is this thing going on. Deep state is very involved. Other foreign.
So an underlying current which is making sure that peace does not return to Manipur. General Sudhakar, 30 seconds before we wrap up this discussion, please.
Oh, okay, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are, sir.
Okay, expect the worst and be prepared for most challenging time, because this front is going to turn into a future Kashmir-like situation, going by the devious designs which are unfolding by the day. It is not one agency, there are multiple agencies who are operating, and don't discount anything and look at everything as a long-term perspective. The government of India would do well trying to address their burning issue, which is hanging fire for past 2000 years or so, looking at it in a holistic manner and address it in a very bold, time-bound manner, but incrementally. Don't do anything abruptly. That may actually, stir up the hornet's nest.
All right.
So, and most important thing is the CIA. CIA is definitely into it. There is no denying the fact. ISI is definitely into it. There is
I believe all the panelists do believe that there is some sort of an external factor that is in fact flaming the fire over there. But I thank you, General. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. I thank you and my other panelists who have in fact joined us with their valuable perspectives.